Hi, welcome to my channel, Book Chat with me. I'm Joe, and today we are going to be doing one of my favorite kind of classic old books, The Wind and the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. Now, some of you may have seen the movie The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and the parts with Mr. Toad are all based off of events in this book. And there are also two movies, The Wind in the Willows and The Willows in Winter, both of which are extremely good movies and uh, follow the adventures of the characters in the book. And there's also a TV series, if I remember correctly, and that also is quite a good depiction of what goes on in the book. Um, I have loved these stories since I was very young. I started out by watching The Wind in the Willows and The Willows in Winter. It wasn't until I was a teenager that I watched The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. But when I first started reading the book, I loved how the movies had gotten so much right and how the characters were still just as endearing. And it's a wonderful read, especially if you have kids and would like something to read to them that's a little higher level. Um, on the back of the book, it says, "Share in the adventures of Rat, Mole, Badger, and the preposterous parvenu Toad in their lives on the river. Come in from the wide world, but listen out carefully for the poop, poop, poop of the road-hogging toad." Far from fading with time, Kenneth Grahame's classic tale of fantasy has attracted a growing audience in each generation. It is, above all, a work which inspires affection, and which has spawned numerous offshoots, such as A. Milne's dramatization, Toad of Toad Hall, which is yet another version that has been going around. And honestly, they're all really, really good. And each one, I think, does a respectful job of honoring the original source material, which is just fantastic. Um, as usual, I'm going to read the first part of chapter 1. The mole had been working very hard all the morning, spring cleaning his little home. First with brooms, then with dusters, then on ladders and steps and chairs, with a brush and a pail of whitewash, till he had dust in his throat and eyes, and splashes of whitewash all over his black fur, and an aching back and weary arms. Spring was moving in the air above and in the earth below and around him, penetrating even his dark and lowly little house, with its spirit of divine discontent and longing. It was small wonder, then, that he suddenly flung down his brush on the floor and said, "Bother!" Now, if you want to find out why Mole is so upset, I highly encourage you to just start this book. It's so sweet and wonderful, and it's such an innocently fun book. One thing to watch out for is there is a lot of more, well, obviously it's written in English, but it's got English terms, so like Britain English instead of American English. And a few of the terms might seem a little bit confusing, or the way the characters talk, but that's honestly what makes them so endearing and what makes this book so fun. You're going to learn some new vocabulary and some new phrases. And Toad is such a colorful character. If you've seen any sort of cartoon with Toad in it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, he is insane. He loves motor cars. He loves to get into all these new fads and manias and all that. So if you love reading about goofy characters that are a little bit zany, you're gonna love reading about Toad of Toad Hall. So yeah, The Wind in the Willows. Uh, if you've ever read this or watched any sort of media involving toad or mole, rat, and badger, please leave a comment. Let me know which of the movies or shows or whatever is your favorite. My personal favorite is probably always going to be The Wind in the Willows, the original first movie, um, and the book as well. But yeah, let me know what you think of this book. What you think of all of the spin offs and all of the media that comes along with it. Did your parents ever read it to you? Did you ever go over to grandma's and she mentioned it? Anything like that, let me know. And as always, if I can get 10 or more comments, I'd like to be able to do a response video and open up more discussion about this book. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them for me so I can respond to them. And if you have a suggestion for a book, leave it below and I might just be able to do it in another video. It depends. We'll see. But I hope you enjoy reading this book. And if you decide not to read it, I at least hope you decide to check out some of the little cartoons that come with it. And I will see you in another video. Bye!